I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am continuing reading in a chronological order, according to event, not according to publication or volume, so I'm skipping around a bit as I move along. I am continuing in my reading. Now, before I do, I need to just say I have a new phone that I am using to film. I've been filming using an old phone for most of the time, but I just got a new phone, got a bit of an upgrade, but it seems to have a different picture quality, so just wanted to mention it. I also have a new fan over here. It is still very hot, and so I'm leaving this fan on, but I believe it's a little quieter than the last fan was, so hopefully it doesn't interfere too much with the videos. Now, the last thing I read was section 111, and this was in Salem, Massachusetts, a very interesting section as it gives us a prophecy that, as far as I can tell, has not yet been fulfilled. Just prior to that, of course, was section 109, the dedicatory prayer of the Kirtland Temple. Now, of course, the dedication was in March. The Salem revelation was in August, not too far apart. Our next reading now is going to be section 112, and it is almost 1 year later. It is in July of 1837. So I don't want to try and cover in detail all the history that's going on during this year. There are three things that we want to note. First, in Kirtland, we have the establishment of the Kirtland Safety Society, the Anti-Banking Safety Society. I might try and do a supplemental video on that, but I don't know. It's a fairly well-known story. They tried to open a bank. Opposition to the church in the legislature prevents them from getting a charter, and so they open a safety society, a non-banking or anti-banking society, which was not uncommon at the time. These kind of quasi-banks, they existed all over the country. So they get this bank. Most of the assets that back the bank, though, are land. They do have a significant amount of money in cash, but most of their assets are in land. And this is the time the land speculation has been going on for several years, and we're getting to the point of collapsing the economy because of it. Now, they opened the banking society partly to help with the debts of the church in building the temple and all that, but by the time we get into 1837, the banking society is already having troubles, and a number of banks are starting to fail. 1837 was a Great Depression it was an economic depression in the entire country, and many banking establishments failed. It wasn't just Kirtland. Now, besides this, the Safety Society, in Missouri, in the land of Zion, the Saints are moving out of Clay County, and they need a place to go, so the state legislature, the state government, creates the county of Caldwell. Now, this is largely taking the northern half of Clay County and saying, we're going to make this Caldwell. The county seat is the city of Far West. Now, it was called Far West before the Saints moved there. And I don't think the Saints were the first settlers in the area, but it was called Far West because it was the far western border of Missouri. It was the edge of the United States. Now, of course, the United States owned the land west of that, but that was territory. There were no states beyond that line. And so that is why it was called Far West. And that's what we have here. The Saints are now gathering in Missouri. They're moving up into Caldwell County. So we have that. The last thing to mention is what is called the first foreign mission. Even though missionaries had traveled into Canada, this is considered the first foreign mission, and that is the calling of Heber C. Kimball and Orson Hyde to preside over a mission in England. Now, this call, I believe, comes in June. I can't remember. It comes in the spring of 1837. God commands Joseph Smith to call Heber C. Kimball. They set him apart. Orson Hyde witnesses, kind of walks into the temple while they're setting apart Heber C. Kimball, and he confesses his own errors in being caught up in the land speculation and volunteers for the mission, and is set apart at the same time. The apostles, a number of them are then shortly after shipped out to England, but Thomas B. Marsh, who was the president of the Quorum of the 12, doesn't take too kindly to it. He gets a little upset. And that is where we come to section 112 of the Doctrine and Covenants. The heading here states this: Revelation given through Joseph Smith the prophet to Thomas B. Marsh at Kirtland, Ohio, July 23rd, 1837. Recorded in History of the Church, Volume 2, pages 499 to 501. The word of the Lord unto Thomas B. Marsh concerning the 12 apostles of the Lamb. The prophet records that this revelation was received on the day on which the gospel was first preached in England. Thomas B. Marsh was at this time president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Now, just to fill in a little more detail on this, Heber C, Kimball and Orson Hyde had already left for England, and Thomas B. Marsh returns to Kirtland. He had been out in the ministry. But when he learns about the calling to go to England, he is insulted. As the president of the Quorum, he believes it is his authority, his right, to direct the mission of the 12, and they should not have gone to England without him directing them to do so, because he is the president of the Quorum of the 12. That is what prompts this revelation, is his resentment. He even goes to Elder Kimball's wife, I believe. Might have been Elder Hyde's wife, but I think it was Elder Kimball's wife, and tells her that the mission that her husband had just gone on was not called by God, and he would not have success because it should have been Thomas to have called him, because Joseph Smith presumed to call him. It had to have been of the devil, basically. So that's what we are now addressing here. So it's a standard length. So it's not too short, but not too long. So let us read section 112. Verily thus saith the Lord unto you, my servant Thomas, I have heard thy prayers, and thine alms have come up as a memorial before me in behalf of those thy brethren, who were chosen to bear testimony of my name, and to send it abroad among all nations, kindreds, tongues, and people, and ordained through the instrumentality of my servants. Verily I say unto you, there have been some few things in thine heart, and with thee, with which I, the Lord, was not well pleased. Nevertheless, inasmuch as thou hast abased thyself, thou shalt be exalted. Therefore all thy sins are forgiven thee. Let thy heart be of good cheer before my face, and thou shalt bear record of my name, not only unto the Gentiles, but also unto the Jews. And thou shalt send forth my word unto the ends of the earth. Contend thou, therefore, morning by morning, and day after day let thy warning voice go forth. And when the night cometh, let not the inhabitants of the earth slumber because of thy speech. Let thy habitation be known in Zion, and remove not thy house. For I, the Lord, have a great work for thee to do in publishing my name among the children of men. Therefore gird up thy loins for the work. Let thy feet be shod also, for thou art chosen, and thy path lieth among mountains and among many nations. And by thy word many high ones shall be brought low, and by thy word many low ones shall be exalted. Thy voice shall be a rebuke unto the transgressor, and at thy rebuke let the tongue of the slanderer cease its perverseness. Be thou humble, and the Lord thy God shall lead thee by the hand, and give thee answer to thy prayers. Pausing just a moment here. This is God. God is accepting Thomas here. He says his sins are forgiven, but he does chastise him a little bit. He's not quite fully right with God. But this is reiterating his calling as an apostle and the blessings which he will not only have himself, but he will bring to others. And that's what this section is. God is restating the calling and power and blessing that currently belong to Thomas B. Marsh as president of the Quorum of the 12. But let us continue in verse 11. I know thy heart, and have heard thy prayers concerning thy brethren. Be not partial towards them in love above many others, but let thy love be for them as for thyself. And let thy love abound unto all men, and unto all who love my name. And pray for thy brethren of the 12. Admonish them sharply for my name's sake, and let them be admonished for all their sins. And be ye faithful before me unto my name. And after their temptations and much tribulation, behold, I, the Lord, will feel after them. And if they harden not their hearts, and stiffen not their necks against me, they shall be converted, and I will heal them. Now I say unto you, and what I say unto you, I say unto all the 12, arise, gird up your loins, Take up your cross, follow me, and feed my sheep. Exalt not yourselves, rebel not against my servant Joseph. For verily I say unto you, I am with him, and my hand shall be over him. And the keys which I have given unto him, and also to you word, shall not be taken from him till I come. Verily I say unto you, my servant Thomas, thou art the man whom I have chosen to hold the keys of my kingdom, as pertaining to the 12, abroad among all nations, that thou mayest be my servant to unlock the door of the kingdom in all places where my servant Joseph, and my servant Sidney, and my servant Hiram cannot come. For on them have I laid the burden of all the churches for a little season. Wherefore, whithersoever they shall send you, go ye, and I will be with you. And in whatsoever place ye shall proclaim my name, an effectual door shall be opened unto you, that they may receive my word. Whosoever receiveth my word receiveth me, and whosoever receiveth me receiveth those of the first presidency whom I have sent, whom I have made counselors for my name's sake unto you. Now note here, God is here laying out the levels of authority. Thomas B. Marsh has authority over the 12. He has the keys to direct the 12. And he is to admonish them. He is to counsel with them. He is to help them in their trials and in their temptations so that all may be truly converted. But he is still subject to the authority of the first presidency. The first presidency is the highest authority in the church. And when God speaks through the prophet, everybody else needs to listen, even the president of the 12, because the keys that he has, Joseph Smith also has. The president of the church has all the keys. And so when he directs something, you follow it. So we have this clear distinction of the authority. So if you accept me, you will accept the first presidency, because they are called by me, they are anointed by me. If you reject them, you reject me. You can't accept Christ and not accept his anointed servants. But now we're going to finish the chapter out, starting verse 21. And again I say unto you, that whosoever ye shall send in my name by the voice of your brethren the 12, duly recommended and authorized by you, shall have power to open the door of my kingdom unto any nation, whithersoever ye shall send them. Inasmuch as they shall humble themselves before me, and abide in my word, and hearken to the voice of my spirit. Verily, verily, I say unto you, darkness covereth the earth, and gross darkness the minds of the people, and all flesh has become corrupt before my face. Behold, vengeance cometh speedily upon the inhabitants of the earth, a day of wrath, a day of burning, a day of desolation, of weeping, of mourning, and of lamentation. And as a whirlwind it shall come upon all the face of the earth, saith the Lord. And upon my house shall it begin, and from my house shall it go forth, saith the Lord. First among those among you, saith the Lord, who have professed to know my name, and have not known me, and have blasphemed against me in the midst of my house, saith the Lord. Therefore see to it that ye trouble not yourselves concerning the affairs of my church in this place, saith the Lord, but purify your hearts before me, and then go ye into all the world, and preach my gospel unto every creature who has not received it. And he that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, and he that believeth not and is not baptized shall be damned. For unto you the 12, and those of the first presidency, who are appointed with you to be your counselors and your leaders, is the power of the priesthood given, for the last days and for the last time, in the which is the dispensation of the fullness of times, which power you hold in connection with all those who have received a dispensation at any time from the beginning of the creation. For verily I say unto you, the keys of the dispensation which ye have received have come down from the fathers, and last of all, being sent down from heaven unto you. Verily I say unto you, behold, how great is your calling. Cleanse your hearts and your garments, lest the blood of this generation be required at your hands. Be faithful until I come, for I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to recompense every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega. Amen. Note the power and authority that Thomas B. Marsh has been given as president of the Quorum. Whoever you send, whoever he sends, whoever is sent by the president of the Quorum, has the power to open these doors to the ministry. But not just that. Christ here has just told us that this authority of the apostleship existed from the beginning. So from the time of Adam, there were apostles. We don't read about them in the Old Testament. There's no clear indication of apostles in the Old Testament. And I think in the time of ancient Israel, well, at least at the time of Moses and Joshua, you had the 12 princes of the 12 tribes of Israel, and I think they were your apostles. They were the apostles of their day. But it says that the power has been handed down from the fathers. From the beginning of creation, it has been handed down. But then it says it was given to you from heaven, meaning it was handed down from creation down to the time of Christ. This authority is passed down through the lines, through the ages. But in this last dispensation, it couldn't be passed down because all keys were lost during the great apostasy, and so these keys had to be brought from heaven in these last days. It was the only time in the history of the world where all priesthood keys had to be restored through angelic ministrations because there was nobody on earth to pass the authority along. And the president of the Quorum of the 12 holds this power, holds this authority. Consider that. But this is also, we are coming up to this time where there's a day of desolation and lamentation and all that. I don't know if it started, but on that point, note that it starts. The whirlwind that comes through to cleanse begins in the church. God is going to cleanse the church first, then cleanse the rest of the world. And that is something to look forward to. I think we're in the time. But this is getting very long, so I'm going to leave it here. And we read section 113 next. So I see you there.